The kid's on the phone. He texts me. He goes, hey, can I give you a quick call? I have some questions about the summer. Doesn't, and he agrees. We're having this conversation. He goes, okay, good. He goes, I've been having that discussion with my parents. They don't fully agree. Doesn't dad chime in the background?
He needs to be on the ice 5 days a week, in the gym 6 days a week.
We know it's always with good intentions. It's just sometimes the way it comes off is not the best. Mom and dad, are you dropping $1,200 on skates? I won't.
You're dad now. Dad, are you dropping $1,200 on skates for yourself? Part of this is, if you're really serious about becoming a high-level hockey player, you have to make sacrifices and decisions.
As long as you self-manage it as a young kid, that's your parents' job to do. Those that are playing 18s and juniors, it's on them to do it. So mom and dad should take a step back and kind of let them figure it out. If he doesn't do enough, he'll learn the hard way.
9 times out of 10, they're going to pick up on a kid that is self-motivated versus not.
Lucas Beckman just came back from Ottawa Setter's development camp, and I asked him, what's the biggest difference between the top guys in the queue and what you saw at development camp? And he said, welcome back, everybody, to Between Two Posts. Today it's going to be myself and Sean. We got a variety of topics to talk about with you guys. As usual, we're going to have our pregame, our during the game, and our overtime for you. And as always, we appreciate your comments. If you have any questions, concerns, things you want us to talk about, let us know down below. And if you're not happy with it, you can just move on to the next video.
Tell us we suck.
That too. We did when we were playing.
I literally
so
just invited that, so here we go. We're going to get that right away.
Hey, there's a reason we don't play anymore. That's all I'm saying.
Well then, okay, you wanna spark up some comments. I think this is an appropriate time. You and I just got off a call, and I've actually been talking to a few of my guys about this. Summer gear reloads. For the players, it's like, I gotta get a new set of skates, so that's $1,200 down the drain for some people. I might switch sticks, which whatever. Like, stick technology doesn't get that much better. Maybe a new set of gloves. I mean, everybody's reporting to new teams. You're probably having to get new gloves, new helmet. Like, you're gonna have to break that in. But let's have some fun since you and I are attendees, and let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. Summer gear refreshes for goalies. What are you gaming? Like, how soon are you trying to get your gear typically before you start a new season? I guess when you were a kid, was there like a cadence like every 2 years? Like you'd switch some gear out, some gear never got switched out.
So
what was that like?
I was very, very fortunate, and this is, I'm going to say it's a disease. It's not. But please don't take this the wrong way. I have an OCD mother, and if I switch my pads, my gloves had to match, and so did my helmet. So that's where
you're putting this on mom.
That's where the
gear matches on mom.
That's where the disease started. Okay, it's rubbed off on me. You see it in everything I do. I got the green set, I got the red set, the yellow set, and a pink set. Hint, hint. Yeah. But so I would switch pads. I'd go up to dad like, hey, either my pads are finished or pucks are bouncing through, or they're too small. And he was always like, all right, I want to protect you. Let's go get you a set. And I only started getting the high-end set when I played 18s AAA. Before that, I always had the middle level because you didn't feel the pucks. They did great. He used to get me the pro. Yeah, but he used to get me the pro glove to help the palm because you're getting decent shots, the stingers. I had broken a couple fingers, so he's like, let's get you the better glove. And then the blocker was the middle level. But everything had to match. So I would go to a store, grab the pads I liked. Dad, can we get these ones? Can we afford them? Yes. And then I'd turn around, and mom was already looking at the gloves and the helmet to see what would match. I didn't even have to do it myself. She was looking. But being a full right, I could buy my pads at this store. I'd order the glove from China, the blocker from Sweden, and then I'd find the helmet wherever I could find one. Because you couldn't.
This was like very early pre-tax, like e-commerce. You could get around some tax law stuff.
Yeah, you also couldn't find full right gloves. Not to say
what you were doing wasn't above board or that you weren't able to do it. But this is when I was a kid, right? We would go to Canada and buy our gear.
Well, I couldn't find my gloves anywhere. I'm a full right. Every store has 100 pairs of lefties and one set of righties. But to your point, I would usually, my growth spurt was always end of season, and then by end of June I got my set so that I had a month to break it in before going into season. But as crazy as I was, and especially how superstitious I was, I would break in the gear and then take my old gear for camp because in Quebec we had tryouts at the end of July, beginning of August. Not before that. So they gave you the summer to develop like every team should.
That's a whole different... Well, maybe we get into that in a little bit here.
But
that's actually really interesting. But yeah, I grew up the same way, right? Like nobody... It's very weird to talk to families and like I have to explain to them, actually, we didn't know what team we were on until August.
Yeah.
Like you had all summer to go train. Like you had time off. You had time to grow, develop, which I would agree. And this is why the junior model very much still kind of fits this. There's the ID camps early on. the main camps, which really aren't main camps, right? They're there to really identify who should go to training camp, and then that's really the tryout.
And you see, for
But
us, it was different. For us, it was you had at 18's AAA. Everything else before was straight August. 18's AAA is you had an ID skate in May, and it was really it wasn't even a tryout. It was you played an exhibition game versus each other. You did off ice testing, and then from the 500 they'd come down to 200. So it wasn't really a tryout, but it was really just like they watched you all season. Let's just put you in one game to say.
You had 500 kids trying out for a midget AAA team.
Yes, because it was properly done and it was based on your area code. So I lived in the biggest area, so we had the biggest pool.
Okay, so zone team.
Exactly. Other places had 100 kids. And
Makes sense.
And they actually do a draft afterwards where they can take our cuts to bring kids there because they don't have enough kids. So we did that skate, and then in August was main camp. And that was, you went from main camp straight into season. There was no training camp after.
Until you get to juniors.
Yeah. But you see, again, I played juniors in Quebec where I showed up to camp after Q camp, and there was maybe 36 guys left, and we kept 28. There was no pre-camps. There was none of that. It was straight, here's the 40, 50 guys we're inviting. You guys are going to try out. If you're at the queue, when you get cut, you come back to us. Like, I had never been to a junior camp with more than 120 players. Never. The queue had 120 players, and that was my biggest one.
I don't think... We've digressed. Like we've transitioned from the pad stuff, so I want to close that out first because there's some interesting pieces here, especially for the goalies and the people that aren't bored yet.
Yeah,
deal with it. But I don't think I ever went to a camp with more than maybe like 4 or 5 teams ever. Like 100 guys at a camp for like the NAL was obscene. Like that was the biggest camp, and I think like that was like Bismarck one year. They had like 4, I think it was like 4 teams. So maybe, so like 20, maybe not 25 per team. So yeah, like maybe it was less than 100.
Yeah,
for sure. Like it's very different now.
All right, let's flip over to the meat and potatoes of this video. What everybody's been waiting for. Parents, this is your kid's ride, not yours. I cannot stress that enough.
I mean, how do we want to... Okay, it's out there. I thought we were going to talk about ways to focus on getting better in the summer, but this is a good help to it, I guess.
It's combined. It's combined. And
it is.
I want to start it off with a conversation I had with a family 2 weeks ago. I'll never forget this. The kid's on the phone. He texts me. He goes, hey, can I give you a quick call? I have some questions about the summer. Absolutely. We went on the phone for about 10, 15 minutes talking about, he's got to be in the gym 4 to 5 times a week. Preferably, I like to say 4 days of strength, and this is a forward and 1 day of mobility. Because even forwards, they get hip problems, they got leg issues, back problems, all of that, especially with their shoulder injuries when they get hit.
Pilates, there's ways to cross-train. Like
you can even do jiu-jitsu if you want. These guys are so mobile.
Yeah, there's enough programs out there where you can still build strength, but it's about control, right?
Yes.
At that point, it's like everything's got to stick together. Like you need to be pliable, you need to be mobile, and you need to be strong. Those are the 3 things.
So that's exactly it. And then I told him, I said, you should skate 2, maybe 3 times a week. And when I said skate, I said, don't go play pickup with your buddies. Do a skill session, a skating session, and then either one high-intensity game or a high-intensity practice where it's like game-like situations. And then if you want to do more, go in the garage and rip 1,000 pucks a day. You can never do enough shooting in your garage. And he agrees. We're having this conversation. He goes, okay, good. He goes, I've been having that discussion with my parents. They don't fully agree. Doesn't dad chime in the background? He needs to be on the ice 5 days a week, in the gym 6 days a week. And I'm like, okay, wait a second. Are you getting stronger or are you getting hurt? Because if you're doing that for 12 weeks and then you're getting into season, the kid's got no gas left. And then he's going to get hurt.
Yeah, he's going to be burned out, and that's a big one I have to talk. Most of my families will hear me say this, like, you need to have time to still be a kid.
Yes.
Like, part of this is recovery. Like, you look at the models, you look at the data. This is a really good example. We're going to touch on this a little bit later in OT, but the draft. I think one of the biggest stories out of the draft was a Minnesota high school player. So for everything we talk about, the path in and absolutely, like, going to the dub, going to the USHL, going going these routes absolutely is an advantage. You're training, you're being given the tools, you're learning the game. But there's a kid who's 6'6" from is it Edina, Eden
Yeah,
Prairie,
Edina.
Edina, and he's gonna go play football. He's gonna be the quarterback for his football team, so he can win a state championship there because he already won one in hockey. He's a well-rounded athlete, and we hear people talk about this all the time. And I got to give some props to like the Minnesota hockey system. It is one of the few that still protects development, and it's multi-sport athlete development. Like we hear a lot of people talk about this. Okay, well then in the summer, like the big one for a lot of the guys around, and I don't like this anymore. It used to be really good. My season would be done. I moved to lacrosse. Hockey season's done come April. I play lacrosse until June. Like
Good.
that was the other sport. I'm outdoors. I'm running as a goalie. I'm playing midi, so I'm getting cardio. I'm getting like I'm hitting. I'm learning. I'm working on hand-eye. Like there's things that are being developed, but I'm doing something different.
So you did
And
that
we
over
don't.
baseball? For us, it was
I,
baseball. I never played, but a lot of my buddies did.
Baseball, I actually probably would have been pretty strong with, but the problem, well, this happened in lacrosse too. So when everybody finds out you're a goalie, they either go, do you want to be in lacrosse? Do you want to be a goalie? Which I tried. I ended up playing like half the year in goal one year. And they like my coach was like, you could be all state. You could. I'm like, yeah, except getting my shins blown up with like
No, thank
and
you.
having warrior logos pressed into my legs. Not as much fun as you'd think, but it was good. I had fun with it. Like you know, so once in a while I'd hop back there and play. But I liked scoring. I liked doing the other pieces. I needed to develop somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball, it was always like, oh, do you want to be a catcher? Like,
I don't mind that though. You're working on your hand-eye, your quick movements, explosion. Think of how fast they gotta pop
yeah,
up.
yeah, but the knees, like there were other pieces to it, and so I played. Though I was goofy, so I played goal. I'm left-handed, but I would catch with my left, and so when I played the puck, I would play the puck left as a lefty. So I had an advantage. That was like one of the things that actually got me as far as it did, is I could play the puck really well because it was always left side. When I got to baseball, I would catch right, throw left. Nobody wants a goofy. That you would be fine. You would be a good switch actually. They don't want that for a catcher. A catcher needs to be able to make the throw to first.
I'm goofy
So
like you.
catching.
I catch right in hockey, I catch left in baseball.
So we flipped. So like you would be a good flip to have. I wouldn't. So that was always one thing. And I just honestly like I didn't. No offense to baseball lovers out there, but it is one of the most excruciating games to sit and watch, to play. Like I need action. I have ADHD. I need to be going, constantly moving. It just didn't work for me. So that was my off-season sport. But again, all going back to, this is about your kid's development as an athlete and as a person. Put them in experiences. They don't have to go to every camp.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get burned out. They're going to hate the sport at some point. Like juniors, especially as you mature, juniors is when you start to learn that hockey becomes a job.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you want to admit it or not, the coach is there trying to save their bacon. They want to keep their job. They're trying to build a winning culture, or they have one. And if they don't, they're gone. And your job, like you're an employee of that group. You're doing personal, you do in-person events. You have to report at certain times to the rink. You have to do your homework. So I say all this because like, let your kids be kids a little bit. You know, like, I don't know if these are as rampant anymore. I think because the tryout schedules are so tough, but like when you were a kid, did you guys have like, there was like Okanagan Hockey School, and then there was one in like Minnesota. There were a couple of these places like Billington, you could go like stay at like I think you had a rink, and then you stayed in cabins, and so you'd go and like you have fun and you train, but like you're still only on the ice like in the most intense situation like 4 to 5 hours during the day, and then the rest of the day nutrition. Like at night you go and do, like when I was a kid, the big highlight of our summer actually for our hockey specific training was my dad would load my brother and up, and we'd drive from Colorado up to Gym Park goalie school. For anybody for all the like Gym Park fanatics, awesome experience. Jim is a beauty. Jim played for the Islanders, was Billy Smith's partner. He'd have like all of his dub and college guys would be the instructors. So you're like, I want to be you. So you're getting firsthand experience. They're working with you on techniques, on you know, how to get better. You're training like there was like a less intense and a more intense session that he had running. So maybe like 5 hours during the day, but then like you go back, we eat, and then we go to like a Blue Jays game that night. Or we're gonna go do like go-karts, like we're gonna do something else and like have fun with it. That was like the most intense quote training experience I would have, and it was still fun. So I guess this whole long-winded thing for me, go have fun. Like find ways for your kids to still have fun and enjoy the summer.
It's the big thing, right? Like, let them play a second sport. Let them hang out with their friends. I'm not saying the kid should go hang out with his friends 8 hours a day. Look, you have
No,
goals.
and
You
he
want to
doesn't.
play high level. An hour, 2 hours
Yeah,
a day, do your job.
yeah. This is about self-management, right? That's a
Yes.
great example, right? Like, hey, if little Billy goes, I really want this, I can make time for an hour in the gym and I can make time for an hour on the ice. And I have 22 other hours. Hopefully you're sleeping 8 hours a day. So you've got another 10 hours during the day during the summer, unless, if you're working and that's part of what you guys have set up, great. But that's only 8 hours. Like you can make time for friends. And yes, part of this is if you're really serious about becoming a high level hockey player, you have to make sacrifices and decisions, but it doesn't have to be dire straits. It's, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to stay out when I'm in high school, right? I'm not going to go to this party and stay out till 3 because I know I got to be on the ice at 6.
Well, and to that point exactly, like I look at the guys I grew up playing with that are now playing in the AHL and the NHL, and obviously they're the best of the best, right? They've put in the work to get there. They're not done working because they got to stay there. I know their schedule. They're up at 6. They're in the gym by 7:30, depending the day. They're out of the gym by 9:30 because they do an hour workout, an hour mobility, stretch. A lot of them get a little bit of PT right after the workout to make sure they're okay. Then 3 times a week, they go straight to the ring for practice. The other 4 days a week, they go on the boat for a few hours. By 6:30, 7 o'clock, they're home and either watching a movie, going to bed, or playing video games with the guys, whatever it is. But they
Yeah.
enjoy their summers. Guys that are at the best and have to stay at the best are still enjoying their summers, and they're not over exaggerating. They know they got to get up early, so we're gonna go to bed at a reasonable time.
Yeah.
Right? If there's things I got to do, like guys who play in the East Coast usually have a job in the summer because they don't make enough. So they wake up, they train, they go to work, maybe hang out a bit, and then they go to bed because they got to do it all over again the next day. As long as you self-manage it as a young kid, that's your parents' job to do. And for the player in question right now, he's at the age where it's slowly transitioning that he takes care of himself. But those that are playing 18s and juniors, it's on them to do it. So mom and dad should take a step back and kind of let them figure it out. If he doesn't do enough, he'll learn the hard way. If he does, well, then he'll be rewarded. And, he learned from you guys by example, right? You did raise him. Because back to the kid in question, it's to the point where his coach, his skills coach, called me and said, "Hey, you got to talk to the dad because I'm teaching the kid, different ways to walk across the blue line, different ways to release it. It's not about scoring; it's about hitting the net, getting the rebound, just getting it through shin pads." And his father's trying to retrain what I'm showing the kid on the ice. I want to preface: the
Yeah.
father didn't play hockey.
But dad's seen enough on YouTube and things he knows, like, oh, you got to be sniping from, and what defense is an interesting one, right? It's the art of getting the puck through.
Yes.
That's actually why those guys are successful. The most successful defensemen, Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, they're different. A Slavin, you look at guys like that, it's can they walk and get a puck through to create something? That's an
Yes.
art. That is the art. And so teaching them that and the advantage of a shortness, right? Like missing to the short side. Like there's all these little things that you start to see, like, oh, shot placement, what's harder for me to work off of? And I talked with actually a couple defensemen about this, like we're going into like specifics, but like using the time when you train with your skill coach to be intentional. So I have one guy we talked about commanding the blue line more. That is like his thing to work on this summer. He's a really good skater. Physically, I don't ever have to question what the kid's doing in the gym. He puts in the work. He takes care of himself. He's a diligent kid. He's one of our clients. But one of the things I said is with your skill coach, talk about depth, knowing when to gain into the second, third, and fourth level, like from in the offensive zone. It's not always going to be there. Sometimes it's the walk, the cut back, and then can you gain another 6 feet? Gaining another 6 feet, what's the advantage it gives you? Gaining another 6 feet. Now you're down at the half wall. Now you're down at the half. So like train with intention. It's not reps are important. There is something that's been kind of discredited with this whole like 10,000 hour theory. Like, love Malcolm Gladwell, but like we know that there's actually some flaws in that. It's yeah, okay, I'm gonna go like shooting pucks is good. When you talk to a kid about shooting pucks during the summer, what are you having them do? Is it just, yeah, just go shoot 1,000 pucks? No, it's work on a pull and release. And I want to like, if you're gonna shoot 1,000 pucks a day, if that's what you want to do, your wrists are gonna be burned. But by all means, if you can do it, 200 this way, 200 that way, 200 backhand, snapshot. Like, work on different things, and then your placement and your command.
Yes.
Intentional training, which I think is like lost on some people.
I much rather you take 200 detailed shots than 500 undetailed. Do 50 push and shoot, 50 pull and shoot, off the right leg, off the left leg, and snaps. You're done for the day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow work on slap shot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's to your point, that 10,000 hours, people are taking it too literally without understanding. You have to understand everything you're doing and have to be able to break it down.
Yeah, because if your mind can't actually tell your body what to do, we need to get someone on here that's obviously much more qualified to speak to this than us. But like, the mind-body connection is really important for high-end athletes.
Lucas Beckman just came back from Ottawa Setter's development camp, and I asked him, what's the biggest difference between the top guys in the queue and what you saw at development camp? And he said it's the attention to detail and the execution. Every little move is detailed. For them, it's natural. They don't have to think about it. So they've put in the work of, if I'm opening my stick here, it's going to open that hole, which means I have to shoot this way. If I take a step to the left, defenseman's going to step in, behind me is going to be open. So they drop the pass without even taking a look. Right? They've trained these little details to understand the situations that's coming. And he said that was the biggest difference, is the execution is there 99.9% of the time. It can be a flow drill that, like, it's just regular, that there's no drill busters, there's none of that. Everything is 100% going.
Well, and Lucas is an interesting one, right? Because you think about the scouting reports on him throughout the year were extremely athletic, right? I mean, I've watched it, like, if you have not seen Lucas, like one of his highlight reels, for the people listening, like, go watch some of his highlights. The kid makes some unreal saves. Like, his glove
is ridiculous.
He probably has the best glove in the draft of all the goalies. Like, at least the ones I saw film on. Like, and I'm not exaggerating that. Like, his only knock is that he's 6'2", which a 17-year-old being 6'2", we know he probably is going to grow a little bit more. But I find this really interesting, right? Like, body management at 17. So think about a 17-year-old's, and he's at the highest end of the spectrum for a 17-year-old. In theory, right? You're an NHL draft pick.
Yeah.
How many guys play that are excellent hockey players at 17 that are playing juniors, high in AAA? Like, how big of a difference is it already for them to not be a draft pick versus him? And not saying that you can't catch up, or things don't even out, or you guys accelerate at some point and guys decelerate on that development. But that's what he's being told by pro level coaches now.
And the perfect example is Caleb Desnoyers. He's playing in the queue. He was a first rounder this year to Utah, I believe.
Okay.
And he plays versus Lucas all year. He's on Moncton. Whenever he got the puck, you had to understand that if you missed your details, you missed the step, he beat you by a mile. Like, the scouting report was, this had to be done perfectly. If you're playing man-to-man, you have to stick to him. I don't care how fast he is. If we're playing zone, if we're playing box or something, you cannot let him walk you. Because the minute you overstepped or committed, he had you beat. And anytime he came down to shoot, Lucas said it. He goes, he's hiding that puck. He's not giving me indicators or anything. He was a pro, and that's why he was a first-round pick in the NHL this year.
Pro-level shot.
Pro-level everything. The skating
Pro-level
ability.
details.
And it goes back to, if you do a deep dive on him and you listen to the conversations, it's not mom and dad pushing him. He was just self-motivated. Everybody, they interviewed him at the draft, right? They did some research on him, talked to his coaches, and it's, kid's the first one on the ice. You know, coach tells him, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. He doesn't say why. He doesn't say how come I do it this way. He just says how many times. Can you break it down? The amount of footage he watches. It's all in the kid. And it brings us back to our point of, take your foot off the gas. If your kid is under 15 and not self-sustaining, I'm not saying you have to push him, but you can be a little bit more on them.
You got to help a little bit. Yeah, like, that's a tough age.
But if you're at the age where you're talking with agents, and you're trying to have that conversation, trying to get the pros to college, you got to see what your kid's made of. That's the way I see it. Is if you don't get through to him as a parent, I didn't get through to him as an agent, his coaches didn't get through to him.
That's a bad sign.
Thank you.
That's a really, and it's very interesting. You and I talk to a lot of these. We talk to GMs, we talk to scouts, we talk to coaches. They're very, I'd say, 9 times out of 10, they're going to pick up on a kid that is self-motivated versus not. There might be one that squeaks through because the kid's maybe been coached on it. And so they just know when to say the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually the habits, the work ethic, whether it's I can interview you and be like, you can say everything right, doesn't show up on the ice.
Yeah.
Because I can see the kid who's going to go back, a really interesting one. And you've coached, I've coached. There's always one indicator you see coaches use a lot in a drill. If a kid's skating with a puck and he loses a puck, what does he do?
Head down, smacks his stick, drops his shoulders, doesn't chase for it, doesn't go for it. He kind of lets it die and goes back in the line.
And this is a flow drill. Let's just say this is a warm-up.
Yeah.
Then you get labeled a drill killer.
Yeah.
Because there's probably another sequence, especially at the high level. Usually it's not just hey, go hit 5 turns and then you get to shoot. It's nope, then you're handing the puck off to someone, you activate another guy. Now it's become a 2-on-1. There's components that happen, and they look for drill killers.
Yep.
Is what they'll call them. But it's really what's the kid's attitude in that? So something doesn't go your way. You get a shot off, you didn't get the shot off the way you wanted. Okay, well, guess what? You have 10 more reps in this to do it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you act when you're in line? Then do you take feedback? Hey, I noticed that when you broke on the pass, or when you finally got into a shooting area, you didn't use the deception. It was very easy to telegraph. I knew what you were doing. Or you made the decision to pass when it shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
What's your read? Can you adjust it? Can you go adjust quickly? That's what coaches are looking for. So when a coach is working in these ID camps, this is actually a great example. Lenny Childs. You know Lenny. For those that don't, Lenny was at Union when they won the national championship. Omaha Lancers. He's in Janesville now. Lenny's an excellent coach. Lenny most likely ends up in the NHL sooner than later. And when he does, obviously he'll need representation. Lenny, if you don't have it already, we're happy to help you. I have a lot of respect for Lenny. Lenny runs his ID camps. So going back to summer and where to spend your time, he was very explicit with me when I was talking about guys. He's like, our ID camp is for me to be on the ice so I can see how this kid is. I want to know how he takes feedback. I want to know what they how they process so that I can see it. Our then next camp is a true tryout. And there's going to be 6-8 teams out there, and we're going to see who shines there, and then we go to our main our training camp. And that's what a lot of North American League teams do. USHL does it this way, although a little bit less on the ID camps because they centralize that with scouting. But the ID camps I think there's some debate on this. What's the importance of an ID camp? I think if there's a team that really likes your kid and they've reached out, they've made the effort to talk to you in person, or not in person, but phone call, they're trying to do this in a professional manner, and they say, we really want to see you at an ID camp. There's probably a reason for it. If it's the general email, yeah, we have to be wary of that. It might be a money grab. It might be a spot filler. But coaches will they will say no, I want to do this so we can see. We basically run a full practice, full practice part of the day. We'll run a game later, but I want to see how they operate, how they listen, and what kind of player they are on the ice. Because I can see things on film. When a scout sends me film, I can see things, but what I can't see, and I think we talked about this not too long ago, Yumi and a few other folks. A lot of these scouts still want to go in person. They want to see what happens when you're not playing. What's the behavior when you come back to the bench and a play didn't go your way, or you're not getting your ice time? What is your body language? What's your attitude? And so some of these pieces during the summer, you get a chance to kind of work on that as well.
It's funny you say that, because a lot of the major junior coaches I've been talking to this offseason in the Q and the O, the first question they ask me is, am I taking the player or am I taking mom and dad? It's the first question they ask me is, who's going to be the guy I'm coaching? Who's the kid going to listen to? How motivated is he? Is he dedicated? Or is the mom and dad pumping him saying, no, you should be in this league, you should be in the league? What am I getting? And that's one of the first ones they ask me, and it's it's easy to answer right, but they're expecting me to fight for the kid. So I always say, look, take my advice. You can take it from me. I'll give you the past coach's number so you can listen for him and have a conversation with the kid yourself. Because it's the best way to do it.
And there's a lot of coaches that are very fair to it. They're like, we understand this is a transition.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a very similar instance happen a week and a half ago. A kid was trying to decide between one of two camps. One team he was able to talk to. The team had been kind of courting him. Another team that we had found for him that we thought would be a good fit based on what's happening with some position change stuff, new coach. Dad reached out to the owner of the team, and the owner basically said, I don't really love necessarily what I got from this. He was fair. He's like, I will never punish the kid. If the kid's good and he can play, I want him here. I want to see what he can do. And we basically left it at, this is a coaching moment. This is parents, can you be coachable? I would say in this, like, are you willing to grow? And like you're saying, let your kid take the reins a little bit and be happy to have the conversation with how'd you play after? What'd you like about your game? What would you do differently? What can we do to help you next time?
Yeah.
That's the best way to show up for your kid right now.
And we hate to say it because we know you love the kid, you want the best for him, and you're just trying to help him chase his dreams, and that's fine. But there's certain ways where it comes off negatively with coaches that will affect your kids. And that's the point of this, is the fact of the information we're giving you is from past stories. We're trying to protect you to protect your kid. We're trying to help you protect your kid without overstepping and making it worse for him. That it's not us attacking any parents. It's none of that. We know it's always with good intentions. It's just sometimes the way it comes off is not the best. So, that being said, overtime, my least favorite part of hockey. NHL Draft.
All right. Obviously, exciting one for us. Nail biter. What was the, let's say, non-Lucas, which congratulations, kiddo. Snaps for you. We're very proud of you, and we're going to keep watching you do this. But highlight, low light, something that was interesting from the draft from your side.
Something that was interesting. I didn't know it was an NBA draft. I'll put it out there that way. 119 players were over 6'2" out of 224 players. Let that sink in. Highlight, obviously, that moment when he got drafted. Really, really cool moment, surreal, especially for me. I got to coach him back in Bantam, and then once transitioned into the agent role, and he hired me, and we've been working together ever since. We've had a great relationship. Seeing that full circle moment was huge. I am beyond excited for him. The amount of work he put in this past season, the responsibility he was given as a 17-year-old playing over 50 games plus playoffs, starting goalie. It hasn't been done in forever. He deserves everything he's getting. He landed in a great spot. Ottawa's going to be a great spot for him. They have tremendous goalie coaching. They have space for him in the pipeline.
They have a path, like just the team over. I mean, what Ottawa's doing, like Green is a great coach.
Yes,
like that organization.
We couldn't be happier with where he got drafted, and I hate to say it, but he looks good in red. So the red pads are sticking. That's a personal goalie thing. He loves the color red too, so for him he was super pumped. It's kind of funny. He was wearing a gold bow tie, and Ottawa's red, gold, and black. So it was really, really the perfect moment. Low moment for me was I didn't like the Virgil draft. It was not fun. Like, his name got called during commercial break. Thank God I had it open on the phone, because it was like, oh, hey, Lucas, you just got drafted by Ottawa.
Well, I remember you and I were texting as it was going into it, and cut to commercial. Yeah, right at the end of the round.
No, first pick of the fourth round. Cut the commercial. We're going to take a break. Hey, Lucas, you just got drafted by Ottawa. Like, there's nothing on TV, you know?
Yeah, Twitter was going off before, and then they cut back to it.
Yeah.
So I could see that being, a little like, but, if we're talking about basketball drafts, the last time someone got shorted on that, you ended up with Nuggets, Nikola Jokic getting drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. So, like, I mean, stranger things have happened.
You know what? Everybody said this, and one of the kids in the first round said it. It's not about where you got picked or what round, it's what you do afterwards. I hate to say it, but the easy part is done. He got drafted. He earned that opportunity. We knew he was with the season he had. Now it's the hard part. Now you got to earn the contract. You have to prove to them that they drafted you for a reason. And it didn't matter what pick he was, what team. Like, again, he came out in a great spot, great pick and everything. But But now it's the real work. And after coming home from development camp, he knows what he's got to work on. He knows what that next level looks like. And I'm excited to see how he pushes himself. Because he's always been one where he's always pushed himself hard and it came naturally to him. You know, you tell him, hey, I need you to do this. At the very next moment, he does it perfectly. So I'm excited to see what that next level kind of gave him as information and tools to work on.
Love it.
So
I'll be quick. I'll be quick with mine.
Go for it.
Low light, Don Sweeney Zoom calls. We got to work on that.
Yeah.
Highlight, seeing the boys give each other support on the way down. We probably could have made the daps and hugs a little quicker. It was a long night. That was about 2.5 hours in. You could see everybody getting restless. And then obviously, yeah, Lucas going, which was awesome to see. But I don't mind the format. I think decentralized can get better. It's just we don't need to have the Zoom room.
Yeah.
After.
Like, it wasn't a bad idea. It was nice to be able to do it from his home and like in a comfortable setting. It'd be nice for them to upgrade this or make it a better experience overall. That's the only thing. It's year one. It was to be expected. So we can't have complaints there. It still went smoothly. But I'm excited to see what's next for us. You know, it was our big milestone, our first NHL player. We should have a couple more coming. I'll leave it at that.
Fingers crossed.
All right. Everybody, thank you guys for listening. As usual, this is Between Two Posts. It's a different take from our usual super focused and research content. This is more opinion pieces. Just two goalies talking about the world we love, the game we love, hopefully helping you guys out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us on social media. Put it in the comments. We're always here to help. We're trying to get you guys to play as long as possible because we love this game as much as you. So hopefully this helped you. And if it didn't, I apologize. We'll see you in the next one.